Groundhog Days. Hack your habits and live a regret-free life, because we know life's way too short not to live your bucket list life. So please welcome your host, Trav Bell, the Bucket List Guy.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bucket List Life podcast. I'm so stoked that you've tuned in. We're live on a bunch of different social media channels as we speak. So we're encouraging you all to, interact, to engage, and have some fun over the next, 20 to 30 minutes. And on today's episode of the Bucket List Life podcast, I've got the one and only Joey Lai. Joey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Fantastic, in fact. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Excellent. Now, whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Currently, I am at the most Canadian address you can ever imagine. I'm at my parents' house, and they live on Maple Beach Road in Beaverton. So
You're right. You couldn't get more Canadian than that.
You sure can't.
Unless you put the word moose in there somewhere.
Yes, beautiful lakefront property just north of Toronto, and the lake is frozen. We've seen some people playing hockey out there the last few days, and so I have a couple more days to soak up the Canadianness before I head back to Pennsylvania on Wednesday.
Oh wow! So did you grow up like ice skating and like? Is that where you grew up?
Yes, I grew up in Toronto, and basically we like to joke that we're born with skates on. And, I have no recollection of learning how to skate. I learned probably shortly after I learned to walk.
That it scares the hell out of me, a frozen lake. It is so foreign for Australians to even have this conversation. A frozen lake, and, it scares the hell out of me because people just falling through the ice. Does that happen often?
Every now and then, and it's super important for people to check the news and make sure that it's frozen thick enough. I think last week there was actually a car that went in not too far from here just because the ice was inconsistent in that area. So super important for people to check the news and make sure they've done the research before they go out there. So
what on the news did they actually say the ice is so many inches or whatever, and it's safe to go out there? They will have some segments that talk about that, and just searching online as well. My dad, having grown up in this area, will go out once it starts to freeze and kind of take a pick out there and see how thick it is for himself as well, just so he can have that knowledge when he's talking to other people in the area. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I love it. Hey, you're now. Do you fly or do you drive to Pennsylvania when you go back into the States? I'll be driving just to take that precautionary measure and keep to myself and stay as safe as possible. So I'll be driving. It's not too far. Now, when you used to fly, when we all used to fly back in the day, we fill out this thing called an incoming passenger card. And we've got to put our occupation on there. Now, what do you put as your occupation when you write on a passenger card? That is a great question. That's changed a couple times, but what did it used to be? Yeah, what did it used to be, and what is it now? And currently, I would write athlete, and that's my full-time focus right now. Training for Tokyo 2021, and I feel very fortunate to be able to say that I'm a full-time athlete with obviously a couple of jobs on the side as well. But in my previous life, I would have said coach or educator, just having worked in the U.S. college system, coaching softball and teaching some physical education as well. So you've been softball your whole majority of your life, yeah? Yes. And so tell us of your accolades in softball, the teams that you've been in, and now is Tokyo even going to happen? I mean, let's talk about that later. But what have you done in softball up until this point to get you to become an Olympian? Yeah, so I had a pretty unconventional journey with regard to that, and just was
a pretty stubborn child growing up and knew what I wanted, so stuck to my plan, and that was to continue working hard and getting better every single day. I started just playing house league, and then started playing recreational, and then a rep league, which is, travel softball, and played 7 years with the Scarborough Spirit. We created, my parents with a few other parents created our own travel organization, and had a lot of success, won a couple Canadian national championships. And I ended up going to the US to play softball and hockey in college. I couldn't give either one of them up. So my checklist was a good education and the ability to play hockey and softball. And Williams College is a very, very small Division III university in Massachusetts. So that's where I ended up. And I would not change that for the world. That was an amazing experience. And then actually when I was getting set to graduate, I had a phone call with my parents, and they told me they had signed me up for a Team Canada tryout. That was pretty frightening and eye-opening for me. And I thought they were crazy, but they talked me into it. So off I went, and I ended up actually not making the team that year, and chatted with the coaches in my exit interview and just talked about things to work on. And so that first year out of college, I assistant coached both of my former teams, hockey and softball, and trained as much as I could before practice, after practice, ran bases during practice, worked with the sprint coach on campus, and just got as much work in as I could, and ended up making the Canadian national team in 2010. And since then, we've had a couple of World Championship bronze medals and a couple of Pan Am silver medals. And in 2015, we were able to win the Pan Am gold medal on home soil. So that was a pretty amazing experience.
And then you find yourself in the Olympic team representing Canada.
Yes.
Yeah. Just checking. And even though you're spending a hell of a lot of time in the US right now, you meant to go to the Olympics last year, hopefully going to go this year. What's the current state of play?
So currently we just finished up a successful training camp. We had a little bubble situation and, got tested a bunch of times and made sure that we were wearing our masks and staying distanced as much as we could. And so the roster is currently down to 18 players, and 15 will be on the final roster, with those additional 3 being alternates for the team. So that's where we're at right now. Towards the end of March, we'll meet back up for our next phase of training, and we'll hopefully get some games in and be able to get a training camp in Japan as well before some more training in the US, and then heading off to the Olympic Games.
Wow. How like that's just childhood dream kind of stuff, right?
You know it. I actually wrote a letter to myself when I was in the 3rd grade, and my teacher wrote to me when I was just about to graduate high school. Just got a letter in the mail at school, and it actually said, "My dream is to be a professional athlete." So it was pretty cool to read that.
So cool. And how old were you when you wrote that?
I was about 8.
Oh, that's a long-term vision right there. I love it. Did you ever think that it would be in softball?
Honestly, from a young age, I loved hockey, and that would have. It
sounds like it was going to be hockey. Yeah.
Yes. But you adapt and thrive.
I'm convinced that, because I would love to be in the Olympics. Big bucket list tick for me. I'm trying to find a sport that would be the easiest for a person to get into who's got really no experience whatsoever in any of the Olympic sports other than being a hack. I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm the guy, what about if I'm the guy on the broom during curling? Do you reckon I could get in?
Just like the only problem is that you also have to be able to throw the rock, because you take turns.
You can't just be the broom guy.
Correct.
You can't just. Damn it!
It's a good thought, though.
I was sweeping up the house the other day, and I go, I could be an Olympian with this thing. So obviously that's Damn, it takes more than skill than brushing a bunch of ice. All right, so note to self on that one. I'll find something, I'm sure.
There you go. Searching.
Look, why does and so we're pretty confident of Tokyo actually happening in 2021.
I think so. We're feeling good. The Olympic Committee has been working hard. The host committee has been working hard, and they've invested a lot of time and energy and money into the postponement. And so I know they've been doing some test runs with their baseball league there with regard to fans and capacity. Cool. And I don't necessarily predict that we will have fans. Especially national fans, but at this time, let's just make things happen.
That's it. Yeah. It would be, over the last 12 months, it would have been extra hard for an athlete to peak at the right time because I come from a swimming background. I can only imagine, swimmer, you'll peak at a certain time for the Olympics every 4 years, for the Olympics. And then to have that peak period, you have to really readjust your whole periodized program around that peak actually not happening, and trying to maintain that peak state is super hard. And I guess that's what you've been doing over this last 12 months, whilst trying to keep in isolation, whilst trying to have a life in amongst it all. Yes. It'd be super tough. Why would an Olympian? Because that's what I'm going to call you. Why would an Olympian become a bucket list coach?
Well, that is a great question. I think that for me, it was being in a position where I made the choice to walk away from my career to focus full-time on my dream was an eye-opening moment for me. And it almost forced me to reflect and look at, my 11 or so year career and decide that I don't know if I was always fully present, if I was taking care of myself, or was were the days just passing by because I was so, juggling so many things and taking care of so many other people and making sure that so many other events were going smoothly. And so just taking some time to reflect and poke around and look for an opportunity that I could pursue while also training. When I came across Bucket List, it seemed like fate. Like it was a fit. It was going to help me understand more how to live my life to the fullest, how I wanted to design my post softball career life, and how I could help others on that same journey, because there are so many people out there who get caught in the whirlwind of life like I had.
Yeah, plus you're a coach by trade, right? And an athlete coach, and you've been doing some amazing coaching programs over the years and recently. So it's kind of it's not that much of a divergence from that, isn't it? And because you love coaching, and I know you've got such a heart for helping others in every area of their life, and especially youth, and having them come up through the ranks and having a hand in mentoring them. So it's not much of and the fact that it, I guess, gives you that framework to help them beyond just being an athlete. I know you've been doing some cool stuff in that area. Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. I think when people used to ask me, why do you love coaching? My answer would never be about softball. It was always about impacting the athletes and watching them grow as humans, and seeing how much they'd grown on and off the field from, the minute they stepped on campus to the minute they were putting their graduation cap on. And so the impact of people is something that drives me very deeply. And so that's, this is another avenue for that impact, just in a slightly different way.
Perfect. Personally, what are your top 3 reverse bucket list items? You're done list.
Okay.
What do you got?
So number one would have to be.
You've done some crazy shit.
Number one would have to be hands down qualifying for Tokyo 2020. And
so now you're just bragging. Right. Not too many other people can say that. Yeah, but become an Olympian, that's a fair. I'll give you that.
So yeah, hands down, that's number one. And I think number two would be owning my home with my wife. But even more so with that is this week we're actually adding solar panels. So having the ability to own our home and own our power is a big one for us.
Oh, there's a bit of FU system in that. I can hear it in. I love that.
All about the environment.
Yeah, not paying the man anymore, so to speak.
and then my third would be, we have 2 rescue dogs, and I grew up asking Santa Claus for a dog my entire childhood, and I don't blame my parents for not following through with that wish. But as an adult now, being able to have my own 2 dogs and having rescued them, that's a huge tick on the bucket list for me as well.
And also being an adult and not believing in Santa anymore might actually help. And Santa's not going to actually, or for any kids watching, sorry about this, that you've got control to, and you've got the money to get your own rescue dogs. I love that. Okay, 3 future bucket list items. What you got? Okay,
well, I feel like this is cheating, but it's too obvious to not say, is win an Olympic gold medal is number 1. So that is the hope and the dream and what I wake up to work towards every single day. And next would have to be owning a beachfront property. I've been around a lot of snow throughout my entire life, and I think it's time for us to move south a little bit. And so that's a huge item to tick off.
When you say south, what are you talking? You're in Canada, where you are now. What is beach and what is south to you?
I think South Carolina, North Carolina, anywhere south of there would be south for me. Somewhere that it's more shorts and t-shirts weather most of the year versus having to bring out your parka all the time.
Yeah. I think it's only Canada and Australia who say the word parka. It's you're right. And as I look over where I'm filming this right now at my house, there's got a few levels of the house, and I'm looking over the ocean as we speak. And I think, I couldn't. But growing up as a surfer and a swimmer, surf lifesaver. If I go I reckon if I go more than 1 kilometre away from the beach, I'll start to convulse. I can't handle it.
That's fair.
You always want what you don't have, and I think every time I go to the mountains, I wouldn't mind a place up here as well. So I think that maybe that's the perfect situation. Beach, mountain, done. Tick the box. Love it.
Situation.
All right. So look, why do you love being a certified bucket list coach? Because everyone's got their different reasons. We've interviewed quite a few of our coaches on the Bucket List Life podcast here, and everyone's got a different reason. I'm interested to see what your reason is.
I love it because it's unique, and it tugs at heartstrings at times. It inspires challenging conversation sometimes. It brings out, deep, dark, forgotten about dreams. And I think there's just such a uniqueness to running the programs and getting to interact with people either that or that you've never met, but having real, honest, open conversations about hopes and dreams and learning new things, watching people learn new things about themselves.
That's deep as. I've never heard it explained like that. And so what when you're out there and you say, I'm a certified bucket list coach, what's people's reaction to you saying that?
What is that?
Yeah.
That's
gets the conversation started, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So there's definitely curiosity around it, and I'm looking forward to actually having this podcast out there and having an easy answer to, hey, well, check this out, and it'll answer a lot of your questions in a real way.
What you explained there is not shallow. That's striking at the heart of it's very deep, isn't it? It's not about just checking a whole bunch of cool stuff off and then, like the movie, or it's way deeper than that. We're really tapping into some personal stuff, what gives us meaning, what gives us purpose, what gives us fulfillment and a sense of gratitude. And have you seen that in some of the people that you've done programs with?
Absolutely. And I think one of the most eye-opening moments for me was I had a group of close family in a workshop, and I actually learned so many new things about those people that I had already spent so much time with, and
wow,
inspired even my own mom to have conversations with my dad that they hadn't had, just about items that came out on her bucket list. And so that was extremely inspiring and eye-opening for me.
Oh, wow. I want to dig into those. Was there any other? And we're not, because this is like a life coaching framework, isn't it? But without saying life coaching, because that gets met with skepticism, right? Have you got any other examples of where people have surprised you, or have opened up? Because I hear a million of them. And I've been doing this stuff for 10 years, but now it's really cool to see that you guys, as you're carrying the torch, so to speak, to use an Olympic analogy. You're carrying the torch, so to speak, and now you're getting this kind of feedback. Have you got any other examples that you can think of?
Yeah, I think the example with my mom was definitely the most impactful for me. Yeah. Through another workshop, just seeing friends that, again, I had known for so long, discovering new things about themselves, and really walking away from that workshop having a framework of what they wanted their future to look like, and for them to then come back to me after the workshop and talk about how impactful it was for them. I can't remember specific examples from that day, but just that they would take the time to turn around and reach out about the fact that they felt that, it was a wake-up call, for lack of a better term, for them, and to kind of force them to sit down and even have conversations with their significant others about items that they wanted to do together moving forward.
And the thing is too, with your experience in coaching, a coach is not someone that, no matter what you're coaching, coach is not someone that does a one-hit wonder and then leaves everyone, just to fend for themselves. I've always said as a speaker, the good and the bad point is that, you might wake some people up. You might be there at the right place at the right time to give them a message. But as a speaker, the crappy thing about that is people leave 8 foot and bulletproof, and I know 80, maybe 90% of people don't do anything with the message. So it's all well and good, the hype, and, people think, oh, yeah, well, I can go and write my bucket list and then go do it. But they really need their hand held, right? And that's what a good coach does. They need to hold them accountable. And I think, what's amazing about you, Joey, is the fact that you are a no muck around. You can hold people accountable, and you've got that background in order to do that. What's your take on coaching in that respect? And in, when it comes to this sort of stuff, people not doing a one-hit wonder, they need to hang out with you a bit more, don't they, to really get those results?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that seeing the impact that the workshop has on an individual is one thing, but seeing the follow-up and, working with them to understand the how to take that first step and how to take that second step has been kind of the most eye-opening piece on a bigger scale for me. Just, with regard to coaching and feeling invested in the individuals that I work with, it is so fulfilling to watch those people follow through and take those steps and start to live their bucket list, as opposed to, as you have mentioned, walking away from a workshop or a speech and feeling that rah, but then having no follow through. So I think having the sessions where you feel those people looking forward and understanding how to take action on their bucket list is probably the most unique piece.
Yeah, yeah. They need that accountability, that's for sure. What's something unique that our programs do in your view? Because again, this answer is very different for all of us. What's something unique that the programs do for whether it be individuals or companies that you've worked with?
I think unique from our perspective can be taken in so many ways. From the first question, what is a bucket list workshop? And, people hear the word bucket list and they think travel. And our program opens people's eyes to what a true bucket list looks like, what a fulfilling life can look like. And it is so much more than travel. And I think the uniqueness piece is that you hear bucket list and you think one thing, and it's so much deeper than that and so much more impactful than that. And it's, people probably enter the workshop thinking, okay, this is going to be a cool couple hours, and they walk away from it just, with a changed life at their fingertips. And that's pretty powerful.
So in a group of people, what sort of an effect does it have on, say, a group of people, whether they're in a public group and they may or may not know each other, or within a group of, say, an employee group or a team? What are the kind of impacts that it has, or the effect that it has?
I think individually, the passion, reigniting the passion and the purpose for those people as a group. I think understanding each other more, having a deeper understanding, a deeper connection, having more things to talk about outside of work and things to connect with those people about. And I think it drives, understanding when conflicts come up. It adds to just added purpose in the workplace. And, if you and I are sharing a project and stumble upon some kind of conflict, if we know each other better, have had these situations where we've learned more personal things about each other, we're going to have a better understanding for how to work through that conflict together and have a better understanding for where each other's coming from.
Very cool. Love how you explain that. So it can really have a cultural effect, a communication effect, a rapport building effect. And I think every program that goes out there and helps corporates, it's all about, helping the Gen Ys talk to the baby boomers and the Gen Xs talk to the millennials, and, and trying to get a big harmonious group to actually see eye to eye, see each other as human. That's at the heart of every culture program, isn't it? But also, and that's been a great, amazing ripple effect, and also engagement, right? Engagement in, if you're, we've said it over and over again in our workshops, is a bucket list is a tangible life plan where our career plan or our business plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around. So this, as we've seen, really brings home that work to live principle, right?
Absolutely.
And, do you think that's important to help people create this life plan? And what sort of a ripple effect or domino effect would that have?
Yeah, I think the importance is underrated. It's life-changing to see people in a workspace who are passionate and fulfilled in life. The work ethic and the focus is just a whole new level. And so, the impact it can have on the workspace is, I don't even know how to, measure that impact. It's something that I think, every business that I work with moving forward, if I were to join their company, I would request for us to do something like this to encourage and allow the employees to, expand their horizons in life and be able to show up to work focused and driven and ready to go.
Yeah, because engagement levels at work, but I know Canada, Australia, US, all kind of the same. Engagement at work is like, I think in America, 89% of people who go to work every day are what they call disengaged.
Wow.
That's like nearly 90% of people who go to work every day are just not into what they're doing. They just go get the paycheck, come home. That's scary. In Australia and Canada, from memory, it's around 70%. Nearly the same.
Yeah.
And that's scary, right? Like to get, because like as a CEO or as a boss, you want to have all your team coming to work fired up. You want them to be engaged. You want them to, because if they're engaged, they're more productivity, and they're happier. They're more fulfilled. They've got meaning and purpose. But have a disengaged group where it's ships in the night, no one really kind of getting along, that hampers productivity, happiness in the workplace, not a good place to work. And I think employers of choice these days are, people are wanting to be an employer of choice. They want to attract and retain good talent, right? Because the cost of actually retraining or retraining, and then they piss off to another opportunity. People are chopping and changing a lot more these days. Then we throw in this remote work environment where everyone's working from home now. Trying to maintain any sense of culture is super hard when everyone's working remotely. Can't all gather around the water cooler and have chats, which makes us human.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of this at the moment. You've probably seen the same. We're getting a lot of these inquiries at the moment where people are going, you know what, we just want something positive. We just want to get online as a group and talk about something not about work, but something positive.
Yes.
And keep them inspired and keep them engaged. And plus, a lot of them are concerned about the mental health effects that's going on right now with coronavirus and people working from home and not being around each other. That can have a huge effect, right? So, there's a number of different reasons. Any other reasons that you can think of why people would do a program with you or us?
Yeah, I think you touched on connection. I think the ability to connect with people that you may or may not know, but also, as I mentioned with my mom, learn things about people that you didn't know, even someone you might have spent, most of your life with, and borrowing or stealing ideas from others. And it's, pretty fun to see people's bucket list just grow and grow and grow as they're having conversations and learning, oh, you did that? That sounds so.
And they support each other, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're creating a community, if it's a corporate group or if it's a group of people who don't even know each other, it's a community that comes out of that wants to support and encourage each other moving forward.
Love that. Yeah. Supportive community. Yeah. Perfect. Look, Joey, I know you're busy, so we're going to kind of wrap it up with a few questions. And one of the questions that I ask everyone is imagine a big stadium full of people, and you're probably going to see it before anyone else. Actually, the way you're going, imagine a big stadium full of people, but rather than walking in with the Olympic flag, is imagine a big booming mic, a big raised stage at the front and a big booming microphone. What would you like to say, and who would you choose to be in the audience?
Wow, that is deep, Trav.
It's so deep.
I think I would choose to have youth in the audience.
Yep.
And I would want to express to them the importance of intentionally living their life, of staying true to their own values and dreams and being committed to that. And I think a lot of that comes from my own personal experiences growing up and how many times I was told not to do something or that it would never happen. And some things I stuck with, and I'm so proud of that and excited for what's to come in these next few months. But there are definitely things in my life that I look back on and I was negatively impacted by others' opinions or thoughts or, the confinements that society put on you for one reason or another. And so I think just doing my best to inspire that group of youth to stay true to their hopes and dreams, and surround themselves with the people who will support them through those hopes and dreams.
Yeah, it's interesting. That sort of ties into, the crazy depression statistics, the suicides, the youth suicide statistics at the moment, and this thing now called the loneliness epidemic. Right now, this loneliness epidemic, it's a real thing. Google it. You know about it, and it's the adverse effect of social media and the effect that it's actually having. We know what a pandemic is. We're very well adverse of what a pandemic looks like, but epidemic is hot on its heels. So the youth, especially, I think all of us, to be honest, we're all comparing our behind-the-scenes footage with someone else's highlights reel, social media, and that has a really negative, sometimes inspiring, but also very negative impact on our psychology. So being true, like what you just said, is so thought out. That it's so right that we stay true to who we are. We've got to work out who we are, right? And the sooner youth especially kind of get that, and I've got two 14-year-old boys here who are coming into that and finding their feet and where do they fit in. And it's like, dude, just stay true to who you are. Work out what you and screw everyone else. Not to be a total anarchist, but screw, and I think when we get older, we still do that. We're still comparing our behind the scenes footage with someone else's highlights reel. And what I do love about our programs, of course I'm biased, but what I do love about our programs is if we actually help people work out their why, help them cement the real things that give them meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in their life, and we unearth it for them, and we get a lot of surprised people during the programs, and you would have seen this. They go, why am I even writing this down as to something that I want to do in my life? It's like, it's your life. This is a judgment-free zone. I love, when you run your programs, you really have this ability to create a judgment-free zone where everyone can listen to each other, be heard, be open, no judgment, no ridicule, none of that crap that goes on, whether it be in a company or whether it be in a group of strangers. And I think that's a real secret sauce to why you're an amazing coach, Joey. So I want to thank you also for being part of our certified bucket list coach. I couldn't be more proud of you to be a wingman on your journey, and the fact that you're going to be Olympian. I'm extremely jealous of that. Still looking for my. I might move to like a really random, faraway country. Maybe that's the way to go and represent them in something.
I believe in you, Trav.
That's it. Thank you. Thanks you, Coach Joey. Hey, look, how can people connect with you, Joey?
Yeah, on Instagram, they can check out bucketlistcoach.joey and website bucketlist.com/Joey-Lie. And feel free, anybody at any point, to shoot me an email at joey@bucketlistcoach.com.
Perfect, Joey. Thanks so much for being on the show. Connect with Joey. She's got such a heart for helping big or small businesses, doesn't matter. Canada, Australia, wherever you are in the world, doesn't matter. But reach out to her, and as a professional athlete, she's just hanging around, waiting for training to happen. It's not like she has got anything to do. No, she's very, very busy schedule. And on behalf of all the other certified bucket list coaches, we are all so proud of you, and we wish you all the best at the Olympics. Hopefully they're going to happen.
Thank you so much, Trav. I appreciate you and all you do, and appreciate you having me on your podcast. And I feel grateful to be a part of your ripple effect with the bucket list.
Awesome, Joey. Awesome. Thanks heaps. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the Bucket List Life podcast once again. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for listening to the Bucket List Life podcast with the world's #1 bucket list expert, Trav Bell. For more great content, go to www.thebucketlistguy.com. We'll see you next time.